we've seen this movie before, and, you know, this weekend we struck without any fanfare, just really clarity and resolve. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear facilities. And I want to speak really plainly here. Iran is not just a rogue state. We have a rogue state in North Korea, and it's bad. What Iran is the nerve center of Islamic terror. They give $700 million a year to Hezbollah, $100 million to Hamas. That's almost as much money, I think, as we give to Hamas. They train militias from Gaza to Venezuela. Did you know that Hamas was in Venezuela? Yeah. Why are they training in Venezuela? I think you know the answer to that. The IRGC's, the Quds Force, personally loyal to the Ayatollah Khamenei. They run global assassination plots. They have tentacles across the Middle East, Europe, and now here. They plotted the demise and the assassination of our president, President Trump. I thought it was very restrained of him not to target their leader, seeing that their leader targeted him just last summer. And while we're sitting here and we're arguing about pronouns and all of the ridiculous things that we are arguing about, they're busy building drone factories in Syria and terror tunnels under Gaza and sleeper cells in the West. We have so many sleeper cells because of Joe Biden that our FBI cannot keep up. I have heard, I don't know if this is true, but I have heard this weekend that we can't keep up with the terror cells that we have here in America. It is so out of control that we no longer have time to really track down and stop the terror cells outside of America. So what happened this weekend is we opened a gate. But I want you to understand, in 2023 alone, the U.S. Border Patrol caught over 8,000 special interest aliens, people from nations linked to terror. And the FBI just lost track of them. Now, they are arresting them in record numbers, from what I understand. I hope that that is true, and I hope we can catch them before anything happens. But these are not nameless nobodies. They are trained, they are embedded, and they are waiting, not just here in America, but all over the world. And when America pushes back, what happened? The media immediately screams Islamophobia. Why? Because that's a made-up thing in the first place. I think CARE made that up. Islamophobia. I'm not afraid of Islam. I'm afraid of those who want to impose the Quran and the Hadith on everyone by force. Now, you should have a phobia against that. You should be phobic against that. Let me say this as clearly as I can. This is not about Muslims. This is about Islamists. There is a difference. A Muslim, like a Catholic, practices a faith. An Islamist imposes a regime. And that is happening here in the United States. A Muslim may pray, forgive, assimilate. But an Islamist believes you must bow or die. That's what I'm against. And I think every American should be that way as well. Oh, no, but we're just too Islamophobia. We're just too filled with our hatred of anything that is different. Well, do you remember back in the day when we were going after a guy named Osama bin Laden, and at the same time we elected a guy named Barack Hussein Obama? Osama, Hussein, Saddam Hussein. I mean, it seems like we can chew gum and walk at the same time. Seems like we can differentiate between the two. That's not bigotry. It's grace, because that's who we are. We are a nation that at times is bigoted, at other times has grace. But grace can very easily become suicide. So let me talk to you here about some things that Islamism brings in plain sight, okay? In Iran, girls are married as young as 9. Are you for that? Have you seen any of the videos of the young girls that are married off at 9 years old and how they leave with their 50-year-old husbands? In 2024, last year, a bill was advanced in their parliament to codify it again, just to make sure everybody's okay with that. Let's codify it again. In Afghanistan, 53% of the women were married before 18. 21% of the women are married before 15. Honor killings, another super duper classic from the people who bring you Islamists. They claim 5,000 girls and women every year are burned, strangled, or stoned to death by their own family. In Paris, 77% of the solved rape cases in 2023 involved foreign-born suspects. Why? Because the Hadith says it's okay as long as they're an infidel. You can do whatever you want to them. In Sweden, over 58% of the convicted rapists were immigrants. In Germany, asylum seekers made up less than 2% of the population, but have 8.5% of the crime suspects. This is not immigration that we're dealing with. This is ideological importation. If you're a Muslim and you're westernized, you fled tyranny. Because you know this story better than I do. Because when Islamists take power, they kill you first. They don't come after me first. They kill you first. Because you have betrayed Islam according to their twisted ideology. Yet you still pray 5 times a day. They stone your daughters. They throw your homosexual son off of a rooftop. They burn the apostates like you. They behead converts. They erase liberty. They erase women. They erase all dissent. This is not a faith. This is fascism in a turban. What we are going up against in the world is not a faith. If anything, if I want to put it into the category of faith, when you're talking about Islamist and Islamism, it is evil. It is the faith of the Antichrist. I'm convinced of it. Now, that doesn't mean Muslims. That means those who want the regime to impose this. And we in the West, America in particular, we are asleep at the wheel. Look at Europe. But here in America, let's just stick to America for just a second. Our cities are being overrun with anti-Semitic mobs calling for an intifada or intifada. That means basically revolution and a killing of anybody who disagrees with them. Our campuses echo chants from the river to the sea, which means wipe out all Jews. That's what that means, you dopes. Our government, overwhelmed, can no longer chase Islamic terrorists outside of our borders because they're inside of our borders now. But let me tell you, let me make a warning to both the Islamists and, honestly, to ourselves. You want to see America unite again? Let one of these mobs or several of these sleeper cells cross the wrong line. It's one thing to march with a flag and chant death to America. It's another to go into our malls, into our homes, into our schools, into our places of worship, and just start killing people. We're divided. But right now, there's at least 100 million Americans who know what's at stake. They're wide awake. You start doing this, and Americans are not going to follow. Americans are going to stand up against you. Not all. We have our crazies here too. And it's what we're standing up for is not just our nation. It's our civilization. It's our daughters and their right to live free and unveiled. It's the ability to walk our streets without being told we've provoked our own assault. And let me tell you, I think America is done importing abuse and calling it tolerance. We're done. I, for one, will always welcome those who love liberty and want to support and live under the light of liberty. But it's time for us to stop bowing to those who wish to destroy that liberty. And to the Islamists that are here, you might think that we are weak. You might think that we are distracted. But I believe you are terribly wrong. See, we've seen this movie before, and it had a different ending. It went into softness and tolerance and everything else. We didn't know how to define our enemy back then. We just thought, Muslims, trouble on planes. At least that's the way we were painted. But most of us didn't know anything about the Middle East or Islam or anything else. And we couldn't believe that, they could come over here and do any more than just the hijacking of planes. We never imagined 25 years ago what could happen to a place like Europe or our own streets. We never, ever imagined at the time that we could see hundreds, if not thousands of people in the streets fighting and setting fires for communism and Islamism. I was called crazy for saying that this would happen in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. And here it is. We've seen this movie before, but I promise you, we've written a new ending. And this is a warning not just for Islamists, but also for all of us. We have got to guard our liberty because they start causing trouble on the streets. I mean real trouble. You start to have a Beslin here and there. We will go fascistic overnight. And we can never become the thing that we despise, fighting those things we despise. We have to be very, very careful, but it starts first with moral clarity. Do you believe it's okay for a 9-year-old to be married off in an arranged marriage? I don't. I think it's pretty clear. Do you believe it's okay to stone a woman for adultery, but the guy gets away? Do you believe it's okay to stone anybody to death? Do you believe it's okay to behead infidels or behead anyone who disagrees with you? You don't have to be a member of Islam. You'll be a communist. Is it okay to line you up against the wall and shoot you because you don't agree with communism? These ideologies have an awful lot in common, and it's all on the dark side and death. The time to think things through is right now. Most people don't want to even look at this. Most people don't want to think this could even happen, but I urge you to look at what is happening in Europe. I don't know if we're going to do it this week or next week, but I hope the Wednesday night special, either this week or next week, I hope it's this week if we have time, is to show you the footage that is coming out of these mass demonstrations and the craziness that is happening over in Europe. You need to see it. I mean, I wrote out a show last night. I'm going to present to the producers today to see if we can pull it off this week, but I don't want to say very much. I just want to show you what's happening all around the world because it is very clear. We have been invaded, and in our tolerance, we are about to lose the Western civilization. So, Iran, you should be put on notice. You start unleashing these people on our streets. You start coming in here and you start doing terror. What was that Toby Keith phrase? We'll put a boot up your ass. That kind of American will show up again in righteous indignation, and we will put a boot up your ass because there's at least 100 million of us that are not going to live under that kind of tyranny ever.